So we are out here live from Miami, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the ideal breakfast for fat loss and energy. I'm not in Miami. I just wanted to make myself feel cool. What's up, guys? I am out here post-run, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the ideal breakfast for energy and fat loss. So I'm going to try and keep it very, very simple. This is nothing new. A lot of people have advocated for a primarily fat and protein breakfast. Charles Poliquin, if you're familiar with his work, he advocates something called the meat and nut breakfast, which is pretty much the same thing. So the fat and protein breakfast, how does this help us with energy and fat loss? Well, there are two hormones specifically that we should be looking at. First, there's cortisol. Second, there's insulin. Why do these things affect energy levels in the morning? Well, if we look at cortisol, yeah, it tends to have a bad rep. It has a bad reputation in terms of it being a stress hormone and having a negative impact on our body. And yeah, when we have elevated cortisol, then yes, it can have a negative impact on our body composition and our overall health. But cortisol is a very important aspect of hormonal function. It's very normal and very healthy. It is that hormone that wakes us up in the morning, and while we are dreaming about making spring rolls with Ariana Grande, while we throw a little powder in each other's faces, and we all of a sudden wake up, that's cortisol. Cortisol wakes us up and says, you know what? We are going to put more glucose into your bloodstream, give you some energy, and get you on started for the day. The problem is people are waking up and eating bagels and pancakes and French toast and putting even more glucose into our body. But cortisol already has this ability to produce its own glucose and put it into the bloodstream, which is something called gluconeogenesis. So basically what that means is we're putting a bunch of carbs into our body that's converting to sugar into our bloodstream, as well as our body producing its own blood glucose, and we're getting this overabundance of sugar in our bloodstream, which can lead to things like brain fog and an energy crash in the mid-afternoon. Insulin. Why is insulin important? We are more insulin sensitive later on in the day. What does that mean? Insulin is this hormone that basically takes all the sugar in your blood and puts it in the appropriate places. It puts it in our liver, it puts it in our muscles, it puts it in all our cells. The thing is, we're more insulin sensitive later on in the day as opposed to the morning. So in the morning, we're not able to put that sugar in our blood into our muscles, into our liver, and into our cells as effectively as we would later on in the day. So that means we're left with elevated blood sugar, and it stays in our bloodstream, which also leads to brain fog and an energy crash. So what does that mean? That means we're eating things like salmon and avocado, beef and Brazil nuts, or you can do beef and almonds, or any type of meat and nuts. Lately I've done oysters and avocado oil, and that essentially allows us to regulate or maintain a consistent blood sugar balance in our body, that prevents us from having this energy crash. Carbs at night. I know that everyone is saying, why would we eat our carbs at night? As I mentioned earlier, we're more insulin sensitive later on in the day. So that's why I'm an advocate for, if we are going to have our more dense carbs, I would eat them later on in the day. Maybe even after you worked out later on in the day, because we are very insulin sensitive. That means when we put that food into our bloodstream and it converts to sugar, insulin is going full force and putting all that blood sugar in the appropriate places. Will carbs make us fat? I know that everyone's aunt and uncle has said that carbs at night make us fat, and they're saying, you know, I don't get it. I'm eating the cornflakes at night, and then it's gonna get me fat. I don't know why you're gonna do that. No, carbs at night will not make us fat. Eating all our calories in one sitting and choosing poor quality foods and a lack of exercise and a high stress lifestyle, that is gonna make us fat, on top of having all our carbs in one sitting. If anything, remember I said cortisol in the morning has this ability to produce glucose from within our body. Well, these carbs at night are converted to glycogen, and those glycogen stores can be converted to glucose and put into our bloodstream. So that basically means what we eat at night that sweet potato we eat at night can be used as fuel for tomorrow morning. That's why we don't need to have more carbs in the morning. We could just stick to our fat and our protein. Last thing, all veggies are cool. That means throughout the whole day, even at breakfast, I know that veggies are carbs, but they are nutrient dense and they will not spike insulin levels. They will not cause us to have an overabundance of blood sugar in one sitting. So that means all veggies, breakfast, lunch, and dinner can be put in. That means our spinach, our kale, our broccoli, all of those wonderful things can be incorporated into all our meals throughout the day. So with that being said, I hope that helps us and gives us a little more of an explanation as to why fat and protein in the morning is our ideal breakfast option when choosing what we should eat in the morning. Not only does it allow us to become more efficient at burning fat as a fuel source, but it also increases neurotransmitter activity, and it regulates blood sugar, which can keep us more energized and keep us more consistently energized throughout the day. So I will see you guys on the next video, and I hope this helped you.
What is up, guys? Talking to you about the breakfast and the protein and all the things that are so good for you.